Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Slam. I'm your host, Martina Barnett, and welcome back to the show. So, this is episode number 3 now. Very exciting. We're on a roll. This is a great time to be in the world of wrestling, guys. So, today is Wednesday, September 21st. So, this is going to be airing later, but we're going to be recapping Monday Night Raw, and of course, AEW Grand Slam that literally just finished. So, very exciting. So, thank you for being here, and let's get into it. So, back by popular demand for the second time, here is our special guest, Dee Dowdy. Welcome back.
You are beautiful on the inside. What have I become now that I became everyone I've ever? What's happening?
I was ready. I'm ready. I got those lyrics
I
memorized.
had to start up today because it's a beautiful night for AEW. It's a beautiful night.
Yes, absolutely. And that's exactly how they started the show. Jericho was the first to come out. Very appropriate.
Yeah, absolutely. Super duper amazing night on AEW tonight. But I'm ready to get into it. When you ready to get into it?
Let's do this. So, for those that don't know, as I said, today is Sunday, or my goodness, Wednesday, September 21st. Today was AEW Grand Slam. So, basically, a souped up version of Dynamite that took place at Arthur Ashe Stadium in New York. And there were a ton of title defenses. And let's go over it. So, Dee, you want to start? Like we said, Jericho started out the show.
I want to start from the get. Actually, I want to start from a different place than we did from last week because a lot of key moments happened tonight, and I want to be able to capture those moments. So if it's all right with you, I got these. I done brought some gifts. I done brought some gifts to the slam with Martina. So can I give you some gifts?
You come bearing gifts, of course. Go ahead.
I got some gifts. So let's do it like this. Let's get some gifts.
And wait, look at Jericho grabbing the bat.
That's Floyd.
No,
yeah,
Floyd.
no. Floyd is the bat.
And Jericho. Claudio. Claudio caught it.
Got to get that bat out of the ring here.
Back to the uppercuts. It's Claudio.
And now Jericho, the reversal. Claudio lands on his feet. And almost
got to put the brakes on.
The low blow!
Ref never saw it. Ref didn't see the low blow. Claudio's wobbly, guys.
And the Judas effect.
Oh, wow.
Measure.
The winner of this match, and new.
So, shout out to AEW. Videos are courtesy of All Elite Wrestling from tonight. Very controversial ending. I knew when I heard Judas Effect, I just felt like tonight was a different kind of night, man. And we're going to get into a lot of this talk. I felt like tonight was a different kind of night. And I kind of think that everything that was written already in stone from the previous week, I already knew in my heart that El Champion.
Le Champion.
The Wizard, Lionheart, and now the ROH, the only title that he hasn't ever held, actually. Chris Jericho would be the new ROH champion, the Ring of Honor champion. And I felt like I knew that was going to happen, as well as I knew some other titles was going to change hands tonight as well. But very controversial ending. Typical Jericho. I mean, it's typical. You knew he would have some tricks up his sleeves, but I'm actually amazed that the Jericho Appreciation Society didn't get involved, and he actually conducted business, whether it was controversial or not, on his own.
Yeah, absolutely. I am a shameless, huge Jericho fan. I've loved him since WCW. Huge fan. So anytime he wins, I love to see it, especially at this point in his career. He's like 52 years old. Like, he's a living legend. I personally feel like he's the GOAT because he literally just won his 8th. Like you said, the only one. That's why I went like this. He was in the ring going like this. That's the only title he hasn't held. He's been at the top of pretty much every company he's been in. And I think why not? Because Claudio, this is my view of it. Claudio has plenty of career ahead of him. He's got other titles that I feel like he should be pursuing anyway. I feel like why not Jericho's in the twilight of his career. I like, why not give him his flowers? And he still got it. Like that suplex. I know this wasn't in the clip, but during the match, he did a suplex. He suplexed Claudio basically off the side of the ring, and that was crazy. Did you see that?
Yeah, that was wild. That
bump
wild.
was wild. Like he's still getting after it after 3 decades plus in the business. So I say, why not?
But that wasn't the only event tonight. Tonight, again, like she said, was Grand Slam, which was sort of a mini pay-per-view, if you ask me. They had a lot of bells and whistles, even with the ring setup. I think they had a moving video wall that was the ramp. That was kind of crazy. We seen Trina, we seen Fabulous, we seen a lot.
Sorry about that.
I got one more controversial ending. That okay with you?
Please.
Bearing gifts.
All Atlantic title, what this match is for.
And
the hammer.
The hammer, but Bryce Remsburg, he never saw it. Pac and Orange Cassidy's back were to the...
Yeah, well, he did a great job of shielding it.
He
from
sure
the
did.
referee.
You're right, Tony. There's no way Remsburg, the referee, saw that. Impossible. How could he?
And now Pac, he can just cover him here.
Nice
One,
match is over.
2, 3.
Wow.
The winner of this match, and still AEW All-Atlantic Champion, the Bastard Pac.
I didn't know how to feel about that, and it was controversial, as you saw, the use of the hammer, and the ref didn't see it, because I really felt like Orange Cassidy was doing some of his best wrestling, and that was his title to take, to be honest with you. It really was his title to take tonight, but he didn't get that opportunity, and that was really strange for me.
Really? Okay. See, I see it as a heel doing heel things. He is the bastard Pac. He's a heel doing heel things. We definitely see Orange Cassidy. It's really interesting because, you know, Pac, he's a fan favorite as well, but he's a man of few words. He doesn't cut a lot of promos. And then you have Orange Cassidy, who's basically like the face version of him. He doesn't talk a lot. He just stands there and does that little thumb thing he does and kicks. He doesn't talk much either. So I think both of their characters are impressive that they've gotten over without saying very much. Orange is a great wrestler as well. I'm a heel fan. So I'm pretty much almost always 100% heel. So I'm like, sorry, player, try again next time.
That was like I don't know, very weird. But I got some more gifts. That all right?
But wait, there's more.
There's more. Arguably one of the best moments of the night, simply because I just love this guy, man.
Wheelsy, the reason I came out here was to wish your buddies in the main event good luck. You know, the Blackpool Cuckold Club. I want to wish them best of luck, because what's happening tonight is they're not fighting for the world title. No, they're fighting to lose the world title to Maxwell Jacob Friedman. But don't you worry your pretty little head, buddy. You can still go to your mentors for advice. You can go up to Danielson and say, hey, B-Rye, can you teach me how to become injury prone and turn my brain into scrambled eggs? Hey, Moxley. Actually, you can't get advice from that guy. He's not all there, so never mind. Hey, but you can always go up to your good pal, Willie Regal, and say, hey, Willie, can you teach me how to pop pills?
Oh, this thing. Oh, wait a minute. What the hell? Come on, Max.
Poor Tony Schiavone.
I don't care what nobody says. Maxwell Jacob Friedman is the best. I go on record as saying this on the Slam podcast with Martina Barnett, that Maxwell Jacob Friedman is the best when it comes to promos, when it comes to his live action, because that just blew my mind, and that was just half of what he done.
Right.
Later on in the night, you see him in something we're gonna talk about later, which I told you it was gonna happen. But he was mocking Mox and Bryan Danielson in the stand. Like, Like
Live tweeting to boot. You're absolutely right. MJF, I feel like I said this last show, and I feel like he just keeps proving it. He is
man,
the personification of that saying, be so good they can't ignore you. Like, you don't have to like him. You can think he's obnoxious and he's this, that, and the third, but you can't deny, as Tony Khan has admitted many times, the ratings don't lie, the fans don't lie. People love him. He is extremely talented. He's quick-witted. I feel like honestly that was the best person they could have put Wheeler against, because Wheeler is not as adept on the mic. Few are. MJF is a rare breed. And so to I feel like I was saying on Twitter, I feel like MJF brought that dog out of him. He actually, he was showing more personality and charisma on the mic. And I think that's good for him. We need to see him like, yes, more of that. That's what we want to see. Because he kind of gets overshadowed. And
a lot.
the fact, I'm sorry, when he said the Blackpool Coldplay, I was like, oh my God, that is so sad. He's so mean. He is so mean. His insults are just so like,
because Tony Khan said earlier today, I was listening to Busted Open. Shout out to David LaGreco and Bully Ray and Mark Henry and Tommy Dreamer. He said earlier today that he has some bells and whistles. So this next gift that I have for you is those bells and whistles that he was talking about. So let's check that out.
What is this?
I can't believe this.
I can't either.
To that response for Saraya.
Britt Baker looks like she's seen a ghost, but it's not a ghost. It's Saraya
Look
here.
at her run.
Saraya in AEW. Holy smokes.
What a moment.
That's called a pop, baby. Wow. What a reaction.
What a major pop.
that was a great debut.
And I tweeted this live from my phone that probably the women's division in AEW is probably a way better than the WWE's women's division. And I go on record to say that like the women's division in AEW is probably the best women's division on TV right now. What you have, because that was a very big match with Athena and them as well. That was a very good match. And then you got, what's her name? Jay's out there going crazy. And now you're getting ready to add Saraya, which is formerly known as Paige from WWE, who's been gone for a very long time. Because remember, she retired because of injury. And then she just announced that she was leaving the WWE. I made a tweet that I think maybe Tony Khan might have some guys that's inside the WWE that's just giving him the drop on what's what when it's time to know what's what.
Definitely.
Because that was a very interesting sign. Very interesting sign.
It was, because I was saying this like not too long ago. I remember fans were saying like you should come back, and she was still saying, "Oh, my neck needs to heal." This was not that long ago, but now she debuts. So I'm hoping that she is 100% healthy and ready to go. I hope she can wrestle, because that was the first time we've seen Britt Baker look shook like that in a very long time, if ever. So, and might I add, did you not think it was interesting? I was actually shocked that the only blood of the whole show was in that clip on Britt Baker. She was the only one who led the entire show.
Yeah, that was probably one of the better matches. I was a little disappointed. The biggest losers of tonight, I feel like, had to be Keith Lee and Swerve. They were the biggest losers tonight, because me and you had this conversation at the last episode. I'm not a fan of the Acclaim, but I knew that they probably would try to push them as champions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the fans, I feel like that's another case of the fans rule. Like the fans they're super over. The fans love them. They were chanting them. It was very obvious from the get-go. I'm like, I didn't have a doubt for a second. I'm like, they're gonna win. Well, let me say it like this. The only time I had a little bit of a question was when there was a bump where Castor did something to his knee and the crowd kind of went quiet. They're like, like, is he injured? Is he going to be able to carry on? But they pulled it off at the end.
It was just kind of, it was like a weird kind of space because the biggest losers for this week in both brands, I'm finna run them down to you. The biggest losers this week. The biggest losers, Oscar. Because I ain't really understanding the angle that they running with the, I forget the name of this new faction with Bailey and
Damage control.
Damage Control. I'm not a fan.
Me
But I
either.
feel like the biggest losers this week has got to be Asuka, Alexa Bliss, and Bianca Belair as well, because they haven't really utilized Bianca's championship run since Becky Lynch has been hurt. So the fact
Bingo.
that Big Time Bex is not there anymore, there's really no challenger that can give her a match that makes sense. I mean, I don't think even at Extreme Rules, unless the rules change the match with her and Bailey, Bianca Belair wins it 1,000 times over.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I have to agree with you that personally, I feel like Bailey as a heel is not working. It's
No.
not clicking. It's like they're trying to make her like this Joker comedic heel, but it's not hitting.
So
And then her
that's a loser for me. That whole angle is just a loss.
I agree with you. Like I don't know why. Well, I it seems to me, okay, Becky Lynch is not the only woman in the women's division. They need to build up someone else, and they're busy building tag teams, which is well and good, but we got to walk and chew gum at the same time. You can build up tag teams and also a singles competitor, because this is the one thing that does irk me about WWE. They rely only on Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair, and Bianca. I'm like, there are other women. You can hype up someone else. There are a lot of talented people. They don't even hype Liv as much as they hype Becky and Charlotte. I'm like, there are other people here. Asuka's right there.
I do think that's going to be a crazy angle when Charlotte does come back. And I think she's going to be, when she come back, the pop for that is going to be crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to be at a pay-per-view, actually. I think she's probably going to come back probably at Extreme Rules, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Crown Jewel.
They're a crown jewel.
So that's a loser. So let me get into another loser that I feel like that the biggest losers.
Let's hear it.
That's the Friday Night SmackDown. Logan Paul. I have not really figured out why in the world that they are billing Logan Paul versus the head of the table, Roman Reigns, at Crown Jewel, unless they're building it because of Logan Paul's social media engagement and they're hoping that he draws a different crowd, because what has he done to warrant him a championship shot other than he had a good fight. He did have some good showings, but that's just for TV. What he done with The Miz, that was for television, for television, but to go into a match, and I seen the press conference,
Mm-hmm.
him and Roman Reigns is your main event for Crown Jewel? Are you serious?
It feels to be like I have to agree with you, but I see it as well, because as we've talked about before, the long-term storytelling here, I feel like, okay, number one, Roman has smashed everyone. I hate that he uses that. I wish we could use a different word, but he smashed everyone, right? So there's that angle, like, okay, who's left? Wreck everyone and leave. Okay. And then we have to stall to get to WrestleMania. But I can see where you're coming from. It kind of feels like an overt stall tactic, like obvious stalling, because obviously they're not going to put the titles on Logan.
I feel like they're gonna force him to drop the Raw title, and that's because they're gonna make him pick a choose, because he can't be. He's only on SmackDown.
Mm-hmm.
You rarely see Roman on Raw, so with him not being on Raw, that takes away a championship from Raw. So I think what's going to end up happening is that Triple H is going to come. It's going to be an angle where he's going to come and they're going to they're gonna say, yeah, you gonna have to like, because think about it, Roman's only on SmackDown.
Sometimes
SmackDown on sometimes.
he is going to be there tomorrow. I'm sorry, Friday.
That's because they building that Logan Paul angle. So
But
that's a move.
can we just speak on that real quick? Speaking of dropping titles, how do you feel about Solo Sikoa dropping the NXT title? Because I feel some type of way about that.
I didn't know he dropped it. I don't watch NXT though. I don't watch NXT for some reason.
I do not watch it either, but as an avid Bloodline fan, there's my one
But
for those that are
he
watching.
probably ended up dropping it because he finna come to the main roster though.
He is, but the just to me, I'm a reasoning person. Like I like good storytelling. To me, the reasoning they gave was kind of lame. I did not watch it, but just hearing and reading about it on Twitter, apparently Shawn Michaels comes out and forces him to relinquish it, hand it over, shakes his hand, and says like, "You weren't supposed to be in that match." But the reasoning feels kind of silly because I'm like, but why y'all let him get it to begin with? Because he had it for a week. It felt kind of a waste of time to me. I'm like,
yeah, but that's just they couldn't find the angle because he's coming to the main roster. We know that. We knew
right.
that when we seen him at Clash of the Castle. He's coming to the main roster and he's gonna be the third man because he was there this past Friday.
He was.
And I wish Sami Zayn's another loser. Like, man, leave him alone, man. They obviously don't want you a part of it. So I think, who did I name? The Bianca Belair and the Mango. That's the biggest loser.
And they don't even have a name. Now that you just said that, Bailey, Io Sky, and Dakota Kai, at least their group has a name, Damage Control. But Bianca, Asuka, and Alexa, like they don't even have a name. It's like they're viewed as so tight knit and we're gonna help each other. But why? Bianca's the champ.
Yeah, that's kind of weird.
I don't like it.
I think all that's gonna come to a crumble at Survivor Series because they doing war games. So it ain't but so many women that you gonna put in that double ring like that. That's when I think
I was gonna say, tell us about war games because I'm not gonna lie. I read that, but I don't really know what it means. Can you tell us what that consists of?
War games is we've seen AEW do it actually. AEW with
that same thing.
The two cages, except for war games is gonna actually NXT done it. War games is actually two rings and a cage is consuming around. And now the rules of war games that I ain't really sure on. NXT has done it though.
So it's like a Hell in a Cell battle royale.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you because I don't remember the first one. The first time they done it, it was 2021. That was like crazy. Now the rules, I think the rules in it is kind of weird. Like it's 5 matches, so it's like it's a weird kind of
lot going on.
Yeah, like it's a big ring though. It's a very huge ring actually.
Yeah, I was seeing a lot of hype about that, but yeah, you're not kidding. I just got finished doing a recap with Joe Pasek from Fired Up Network, and we were saying like there is a lot going on right now. A lot of pay-per-views, a lot of matches, a lot of titles changing hands. Getting back to Grand Slam, like you said, we saw the Acclaim drop the titles. We saw Claudio drop the title. Who else? We saw Tony Storm retain. Who do we see?
Actually, I do. Actually, the rules for the but the rules to war games is 2 teams contained in separate cages with 1 member of each team starting the match. After 5 minutes, a member from the team will be released to enter the match. At the 3-minute period, alternating members from each team will enter the match until all competitors are inside the cage. Once all competitors have entered, war games officially begins. Escape or leave the cage. You forfeit the match for your team. The only way to win is by pinfall or submission.
Oh, I like that. Pinfall or submission. I love submission moves.
So you're gonna be trapped in the cage. So it's kind of
it is like a Hell in a Cell battle royale.
It's the PG version of what's the thing that we seen at AEW with the cages together?
I know what you're talking about. Anarchy. Was it Anarchy in the Arena, or was that something different? It was something
Anarchy in
different.
the Arena was something. I think it was Double or Nothing. We seen it.
There you go. There you go. It was JAS versus Blackpool Combat Club with Eddie.
Yeah,
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, that you're not kidding. And that's a lot of real estate to cover. A lot of enemies, a lot of ways to get hurt.
yeah. So it's just that losers, losers, losers. They ain't the only ones though. I ain't done. There's some more
Oh
losers.
yeah, there's more.
The
There's
Dominic,
definitely more.
still Dominic Mysterio is a loser to me.
Oh, Dominic. Dominic, Dominic.
And the worst storyline that me and I think I sent you a message about this. I'm thinking the whole time that we finna hear from Dexter Loomis. Finally, he's gonna talk, and he cuts through the bottom of the ring. Now, how they
With a
did this?
huge knife. Like a hunter's blade.
How they did this? I'm not sure. Cause that was the last thing that happened on Raw, wasn't? No, the women's match.
It was the last men's match, you're right.
Now, how in the world did they get a brand new ring for Bianca Belair for Bianca and them to get in that fast?
You know, we that's a great question. I hadn't even thought about that.
Because
Excellent question.
he cut through the
We
ring,
saw
and
him
then
cut through and stand up and try to pull Biz through. And something else about that, I'm like, okay, I feel the same way about Dexter Loomis that I do about Hook in AEW. I was saying he talks now, but remember there were those what's the word, segments for months and months where he didn't talk. I personally hate that. I'm like, can we please talk? Because I personally, I'm old school. I can't get to know you when you're just mean mugging the camera looking crazy. Like literally, like I'm
yeah,
like,
he's
okay,
always doing something crazy. Like
right. Each week upping the ante a bit. I'm
yeah,
like, yeah, he's
he's
gonna need
he's
to
an
talk.
interesting. He's a very interesting character to say the least.
And honestly though, if let's be real, let's step away for a second. Because I always say with wrestling, you got the fan side of things, then the business side of things. And someone who's been watching for a while, they're gonna drag this out with Halloween coming, and I think they're gonna up the ante and make it even more like spooky somehow, up the creepy factor. What you think?
I don't know. I'm ready for them to fight. That's what I'm ready for. I'm tired of
Throw some hands.
every week there's something new with Dexter Loomis, man.
Yep, gets creepier and creepier.
I haven't figured out. And then they hit him in the head with the microphone. Ciampa hits him in the head with the microphone, and like that was just weird, man.
What do you think? Okay, this is my thoughts because while we're on the topic of Raw, I'm sure you saw the QR codes and the Easter eggs that everyone is saying is pointing to the Fiend coming back. It seems to me like Dexter Loomis is going to need a friend because, okay, we've got The Miz and Ciampa.
What was up with that QR code?
Okay, so it was one of those things for me. I couldn't see for looking. Like I honestly didn't. I wasn't even paying
They said it
attention.
led you down a rabbit hole, though.
Yes. Okay. So it was Theory when the Theory and what's his name? Theory and whoever match. Theory and who was he going against? I wrote about it and I can't even remember. Theory and Owens. Wasn't it Theory and Owens?
Yeah.
During whoever he was competing with during that match, someone was walking. I don't have like a poster board, but someone was walking through the crowd with a huge QR code on a poster board. And very perceptive fans were like, scan it. But it was so quick, you'll miss it. Like, honestly, I didn't even see it. I saw the videos on Twitter that people posted. You scan it, and it takes you to this creepy little hangman game with a white rabbit walking around and the letters. It asked the QR code, it asked the question, who killed the world? And the hangman game plays, and it says, you did. And also, during the commercial breaks in the live crowd, they're playing the song White Rabbit by Jefferson Airplane, and which is very creepy. The Fiend is very creepy and what's the word? Creepy and cryptic. You don't really know, and everyone's saying that it's pointing to the Fiend returning because people have been begging for him to come back. And then some people
What if it's
say,
not?
didn't know it's actually Cross, because Karrion Cross with a little hourglass, because in like the corner of the little QR code video there's an hourglass. What do you think?
I don't think it's carrying Cross because he already back. So I mean, I
That's
don't
what
know what
I
they.
said. I'm like, that doesn't make sense. You think it's the Fiend?
I don't know. I don't know because I missed that QR code. I heard people talking about it and it led them down a rabbit hole. The rabbit jumps back in the hole and you can't really. I don't know. That could be
It's
anybody.
very creepy, but I will just say, kind of like with Dexter Loomis, they are going to need to move this along, because they've been dropping Easter eggs and hints, clues, whatever, for months that the
Like
Fiend is going to be coming.
when they did that video montage, I knew that was Edge. A lot of people thought that was the Fiend then, but I
I
knew it
thought
was
it
Edge
was.
when you seen the gold medals, you seen the Hardy Boys sleeves,
The
you seen Eddie
the
Guerrero.
wasn't it something with Eddie Guerrero? That's how I was like, okay, it's Edge.
You've seen a lot.
Yeah,
So that's
and again, I have to say, with October coming, the creepiness of Halloween and stuff, it would be perfect timing to bring Bray Wyatt back. The creepiness, the Fiend, the creepy stuff, like Halloween,
why
that's
did he
right up his
leave though?
alley.
Why did he end up not being there? He got let
He
go.
got let go.
Oh,
Him, Braun Strowman, they had a whole bunch of huge cuts over the last couple years, and he
yeah.
was amongst the ones it was very shocking. I don't remember specifically when. I want to say it was like maybe June or July of 2021
But
he got let go.
Strowman stayed loyal because he didn't wrestle for any other television promotion. He did Control Your Narrative. Shout out to my boy Fodder. My boy Fodder is wrestling with Control Your Narrative. Really good friend. So he was wrestling with Control Your Narrative at the little house shows, but he never did another television, nothing. So
Hmm.
that just showed his patience and just waiting it out.
Yeah, I like Braun. He's huge. His physical transformation has been tremendous. He went from, just like big and not super fit, but now he is ripped. And for a guy who's like 6'8", 375, something crazy like that, that's not an easy feat. So I applaud it. I think he's great. I was glad to see him back. And personally, I like Bray Wyatt. His character of the Fiend is super de duper creepy, very sinister, but I like it because it works. And people like I said before, people have been begging for him to come back. So I'm like, please help, give the people what they want. People have been begging, like I was saying earlier, him, Sasha Banks, MJF, Naomi, they trend on Twitter like every single day, like multiple times a week. You there?
Oh yeah.
Oh, it just
yeah,
went away for a second.
they do trend all the time.
Every day. I'm like, look, the algorithm doesn't lie. That's going off searches and comments. I'm like, the people really want to see some Bray Wyatt. So I hope he turns up in some capacity somewhere.
Yeah, so it's just a matter. It's just a matter of time. But altogether, both programs was, I think, Raw kind of. They need to kind of figure out what they're gonna do with the women's division. So Raw lacks in that. Extreme Rules is gonna be interesting. We seen Seth Rollins and Riddle is getting ready to do a fight pit match. That's gonna be real interesting because
Very much so. Tell us about a fight pit. Tell us more about that.
the fight pit match is a real kind of match, and that's really right down Riddle's alley because you got to think he's an MMA fighter. So that's kind of a different kind of match for anybody to go into. Like I said, the ring is actually surrounded by like a cage.
Okay. So this is, I am seeing, because I don't know if you remember this, but I'm old enough to remember many years ago, Hell in a Cell was in October. Like that was the whole spookiness of Halloween and the sinister cage. But, obviously we already had Hell in a Cell in April, May. And so it seems like this whole, we can still have the cage, but now it's Extreme Rules. So I think that's
But you
clever
don't
on their
remember
part.
the fight pit match. That's not the first time they done that though. This will be actually Riddle's second fight pit match. Remember, he fought a fight pit match against Timothy Thatcher.
Oh
That was
no, I
way
did
back
not
in
know that.
2020 though.
Oh yeah.
That's the only time
Okay.
that's ever been done. That's the only
Oh
time it's
yeah.
ever been done, and that's why they were saying that this is Riddle's thing. What it is it really is like a cage with wraps around the ring, except for it's sort of like an MMA fight. This ain't even
Okay.
you can't win by skipping the cage or nothing. It's either by knockout or submission.
I like that. I'm very like pro fighting,
Anybody
and
knows
I
Riddle,
happen to love MMA. What'd you say?
anybody that knows Riddle's background knows that he is a former MMA fighter. So it don't really
Yeah.
look good for Steph. It don't look good for him at all.
Well, I think he's due for a win anyway because like I think we talked about this before. Riddle beat him last time, and so I think he needs a win because he hasn't really done anything too major since
No, he
Randy
didn't.
left.
Riddle, he beat Riddle at Clash of the Castle.
That's what I'm saying. I'm sorry, I might have said it wrong. That's what I meant to say. Rollins won, so I'm saying I think
Yeah.
Riddle needs a win.
Yeah, so yeah, it's gonna be a very interesting match.
Yeah, that's right up his alley. And that's also clever, on Triple H's part, bringing in, embracing the MMA-ness because you have so many former MMA fighters on staff. You've got Rollins, Riddle, Ronda. Say that 10 times fast. Brock, of course, Lashley. There's probably, Shayna Baszler. There's probably some I'm missing. Why not embrace it?
Yeah.
And fan-wise, most wrestling fans or many wrestling fans are also MMA fans. I know I'm one of them. So let's do it. I'm glad to see it.
Put something new in the air. So yeah, so this finna get they do part 2 of Grand Slam Friday night.
Mm-hmm.
And that's gonna get real interesting. That's when we gonna see Sting and Darby Allin go in a no disqualification match against
we're gonna see
who they going against. That's gonna be interesting there.
Who are they going
this
against?
week? Rampage is 2 hours this week. So
that's right. That is huge. Who are Darby and Sting going against?
I forgot now.
I was saying, like, go on Twitter real quick. I don't know. Anytime Sting is there, I'm happy. Living legend. But yeah, I'm not.
I can't even remember. They fight. Hold on, let's see.
Yeah, whoever. I feel like I should know, but I don't. We got that, and then I know we've got Wardlow and Samoa Joe. They're going against. I don't know who they're going against either. Do you know who they're going against?
I can't even think off the top of my head right now.
I don't either. But yeah, just like you said, it is part 2 on Rampage. We're looking right now. I'm looking on Twitter trying to see. I see Wardlow now has a shirt with FTR, FT War. Very clever. I really think, as a fan, I'd love to see how the wrestlers in both AEW and WWE are listening to the fans. Like, you probably saw like Roman's like acknowledge your daddy shirts, and Wardlow has the pin me war daddy shirts. Like, I love it. I think it's fun. I think it's clever. And it just shows that, hey fans, if you have ideas, put them out there. These wrestlers and their teams are seeing it. What'd you say? I'm sorry.
I think I'm trying to figure out who goes against each other.
Maybe we might have to go directly to the AEW Twitter or maybe Tony Khan's Twitter. As you can tell, I rely a lot on Twitter for my wrestling news. Because it's up to the minute. I feel like Twitter is the most up to the minute because Instagram, you might see posts from 3 days ago.
I pushed them all away. How did I begin?
Not to mention tonight, that crowd was crazy tonight, wasn't it?
Yes.
They were loud. They were singing Judas like it was Madison Square Garden.
But they
Love
always
it.
do that. Every time he come out, they gonna do it every time. Like
You can
Judas is
always
just
count on Judas to get the people going. One day
Judas
we're
is a
just gonna
spread.
have to do a karaoke of like just the wrestlers' theme songs, and just so you know, I'm good at this.
She said, just so you know I'm good.
I'm good
I'm
at it.
good.
I'm definitely that person like at watching at home, singing along and humming along to the theme songs of all my faves. So yeah, that's two of the ones I'll let you poke around. I know I was looking too and I was not able to find it. I'm sorry I did not know, but yeah, because I forgot. Like I do know we're gonna see. What were your thoughts on seeing Trina?
That's just Tony Khan using hip hop culture to try to incite more people to view the show. That's all that is.
I think it worked for me. It worked for me. I was like, is that Trina?
This
Oh
one,
my god.
next week is gonna be super crazy. Well, Friday's gonna be crazy. It's the Grand Slam Golden Ticket Battle Royal for a shot at the AEW World Championship with Lance Archer, Hangman Page, Penta El Zero, and Jay Lethal. Then you got Jade Cargill versus Demente.
Mm-hmm.
Demente. Then you got Sting and Darby Allin versus Brody King and Buddy Matthews. That
Oh,
goes
so House of Black.
that goes on to Action Jackson and Hook versus Matt Minyard and Angelo Parker. You got Powerhouse Hobbs versus Ricky Starks. Eddie Kingston versus Sammy Guevara, and then you got Jungle Boy versus Ray Finnick.
Okay. Okay.
So
I'm
all this
Who did we
2 hours for
say Darby and Stinger are going against one more? House of Black?
the House of Black.
Okay. That should be
Mhm.
good because we know a lot of the beef there was with Malachi Black, who is now gone. So it'll be interesting to see what that dynamic is like without him being there.
Where is Malachi Black?
He asked, so I'm glad you mentioned it. So that is kind of a thing. So I'm sorry, Malachi, formerly Alistair Black, he asked for his release.
Oh yeah,
He
he
w-
did.
he
He
was
did.
granted it. However, it is a very highly conditional release where he is not able to wrestle on TV for like a year.
Mhm.
And he made a statement about it like on his Instagram, like one of those like lengthy, swipe, like a lengthy explanation. And he was basically saying like, yes, it is true, I asked for my release. And you can, if you get a minute, get a chance, go to Alistair Black's, I'm sorry, Malachi Black's Instagram and read it because it was long. It was a whole bunch of swipes. And yeah, he was going into detail, but yeah, more or
And I
less.
got Samoa Joe and Warlow versus Tony Nese and Josh Woods.
There we go. Tony Nese and Joshua. Is that who it is? Because they're with QT Marsh. No, they're with Smart Mark Sterling, aren't they?
Yeah.
So there's probably going to be some interference there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like it's going to be great. More tag team
It's
action.
gonna be amazing on top of SmackDown coming this Friday. So it's gonna be amazing.
Absolutely. Speaking of SmackDown, what are some of the SmackDown matches? I know we're going to see Roman, but I don't know what matches are coming up.
Yeah, they
It
don't
should be
typically
good.
announce that. They typically announce the card the day of, though.
That's true. That is
So,
true. They only just told us excuse me, they told us on Raw that Roman would be there, and honestly, I tuned out after that.
yeah, so it's gonna be really that's the one. That's how you lead a podcast in the night. Just one.
Absolutely. So yes, if you watching or listening, if you are wondering what are we talking about, okay, so here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna want to get cable if you don't have it,
Or get
or
Hulu or WWE streaming, or definitely Hulu or TBS. You can also get the TBS streaming app and go back and watch the old episodes of AEW. So many different ways you can watch this stuff now that it's just insane.
this is true. This is true. Somehow or another, you're gonna want to make sure you can see. Okay, Raw comes on USA.
Yep.
Dynamite comes on TBS. SmackDown comes on Fox, and Rampage comes on TNT.
Yeah.
So if you can see those, you too can join the action. If you don't feel like doing that, just jump on Twitter. Wrestling Twitter is where it's at. And D, real quick, tell them where they can follow you.
Oh, they can follow me at DEEDOWDY on all social media platforms. I do radio, but I love wrestling. You can see a lot. And also I love motivationally speaking as well. So follow me. I'll lead you somewhere, I promise you.
Absolutely, absolutely. So yeah, in all, Grand Slam was, and then we didn't even talk about. Let's just go back real quick to the main event. The main event was Jon Moxley versus Bryan Danielson. Of course, both of the Blackpool Combat Club, so teammates, both battling it out. It was. I thought it was a good match. You know,
Yeah,
technically
it was
speaking,
very
very
good.
good match.
It's a very
But it
good
was,
match.
as you
But
mentioned earlier, it was
you got
overshadowed.
yeah, you
I'm sorry.
kind
Go
of
ahead.
knew it would happen. I mean, it was overshadowed because you pretty much knew what was going to happen. You knew Mox was going.
The only time, I'm not gonna lie, they did kind of fake us out for a minute. Danielson had Mox in the label lock, and it kind of looked like he tapped out for like 2 seconds, but then like he put his hand in like the tap out gesture, but it didn't hit the mat, and it was like, wait, did he just tap out? And then you've got MJF in the stands being who he is. He's live tweeting from the stands, which I personally find hilarious. He's live tweeting like, "That's right, kill each other, you effing morons." He stays in character
The thing about it,
24/7.
the thing about it, I knew that Mox was going to win because they want Mox to be the face of AEW. Mox is what AEW is. So if you could have a guy that represents your company, Mox is that guy. So that match really didn't impress me because I knew who was going to win. I knew Jon Moxley was going to come out with the win in that.
I can understand where you're coming from. For me, I am biased that it didn't impress me because I want to see MJF be the champ. I've said that well before now. I said that last year. He's earned it. He's so over. How much more over can you be as a heel? He's so over as a heel to the point that people were booing Wheeler Yuta when he was insulting MJF. I thought that was hilarious. He was basically like fighting back and they were booing him. I'm like, you don't get much more over than that. Like, it's his time, cash in that chip. It's time for him to be the champ. So
And you
I
talking
was saying
about a
on Twitter, I'm like, I don't really
26
care
year
who
old.
wins this.
Talking about a 26-year-old kid. MJF is only 26 years old.
Exactly.
They're gonna see a lot from that kid. He's gonna be amazing.
Definitely.
He's gonna be amazing.
Definitely. And he's got, he's got it all, honestly, versus you know, we know that Mox and Danielson, we know they're talented. They've proven themselves. They've both been champs in different companies. I'm like, it's time to pass the torch.
Exactly.
And I think that's only a matter of time. So I have to ask, how do you think MJF is going to do this? Who, what, when, or how? What do you foresee happening now
They're gonna
that
do
Mox is the
it.
champ?
They're gonna do it at a pay-per-view. They get you buys. They're gonna
Oh,
feud.
definitely.
They're gonna feud, and it's probably gonna be a bloody match because that's
Oh,
what
yeah.
it's gonna be.
What's
Very
the
bloody.
next? What's the next AEW pay per view? Do you know?
Full Gear, I believe.
That's in November.
Yeah, I think so.
I think I'm pretty sure because it's already. I don't think they have one in October, or is it October? Maybe it is. Whenever it is, yeah, I think so too.
Yeah,
I
it's
think
gonna be.
so. Yeah. So yeah, that was about it. It was a great, like you said, it did feel like a pay per view. It was a lot to see on TV. They squeezed a lot into 2 hours. I thought that was well done, and they went all the way up to like 10:59. It was like, okay, 59 3/4. Like, who's gonna win? Yep, you called it. You called it that Mox was going to win. And I pretty much thought Mox was going to win too. The only thing, like I said, that one spot where it looked like he was going to tap, it was like, oh, I was like, did they change it? They change it on the fly. But yeah, you got Mox as your champ now. So, yep, I guess it's just wait and see what happens on SmackDown and Rampage.
Exactly. Showtime this week.
It is. It is. Well, That's about all my questions for now. Dee, do you have any closing thoughts?
I don't, man. Let's just enjoy this week of wrestling, man. I'm probably gonna go back and rewatch both of them because they was very good. Both of them was very good. So I'm probably gonna watch both of them so I can tweet again and get active again with it.
Absolutely. I do that as well. I go back later and watch clips like when they post them, honestly, fan compilation videos are so good that people post. People are so creative and quick. I'm like, dang,
Yeah,
the match ended 5 minutes ago and you already have a montage.
yeah.
So, so yeah. Well, thank you for coming back, Dee. Again, I'm Martina. I'm the host of the Slam. You can find Dee at Dee Dowdy on Twitter. I'm Martina. You can find me at Slam Host Martina. If you would like to be a guest on the Slam, message me, reach out. If you like to talk about wrestling, come on. I'm happy to have opinions and glad to have people on. So thank you for joining us. And we will probably, let me ask you, Dee, would you come back on the show another day?
Yeah, for sure.
Excellent. We'd love to have you back again. So
I
thank
might
you for
be a, I
being.
might be a, I might be a permanent mainstay. I like it. Love it, man.
Yeah, I would like that. Hey, great minds think alike. I would love that. Well, thank you for being here yet again. And this is Martina signing out. Bye. See you next time.